Do you like giant monsters?
I do.
Like, more so than, like, if you saw a regular monster, you'd be like, oh, a monster. But if you see a giant monster, are you, like, more intrigued by that?
Oh, that's interesting. I love monsters of all shapes and sizes.
Sure. Who doesn't?
I think, but I love disaster movies, so I kind of think the giant monsters are pretty neat.
That's, like, inherent with it, right?
Yes.
If you're saying a giant monster, it means, like the world's gonna get fucked up in some way.
Something, the whole city will be trampled rather than just, like, a block.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Well, hello. I am Aaron Newworth. I am the editor-in-chief of Lead Entertainment and the co-host of Out Now with Aaron and Abe. I am a huge Godzilla fan.
And I'm Terence Johnson. I write at lenoirtour.net. I have seen some Godzilla movies.
And this is Two Black Guys Talk Godzilla. 2 in a row. We've nailed this.
Yes, we have. Honestly, this is that might be the easiest part of all of this.
All right. We're back here for our sophomore effort in the world of Black Guys Talk Godzilla. And now we have Godzilla Raids Again. 1955, Godzilla Raids Again. The rushed into production second film based on the success of the first movie. This is largely a new cast and crew here. Mm-hmm. We have like one returning cast member, maybe more, but one main returning cast member who's kind of barely in it.
Yeah.
And we have an entirely new director.
That's what I was going to ask. That's what I was going to ask you at the beginning of the movie. Yeah.
Ishiro Honda's not here, but you have Motoyoshi Oda, who is taking over the helm for this one. This is the only one that he directs.
Interesting.
Yeah, he does other Japanese films that we'll talk about. But this is his only film. Honda's doing other things. Mm-hmm. He'll be back. And then, like, the crew itself is largely a lot of new people as well. You still have the same special effects designer, but otherwise new score. New editing, there's, like, it pretty much... I don't know if it's a matter of because they rushed this one in production, everyone else was just like doing something else or what. But yeah, it's pretty much we want to get another one of these out. We don't care who's involved. Let's just do it. And I think it shows in terms of we'll get to the tone and the concept of the movie to begin with, but in terms of just like the look of it, the feel of it, it's decidedly different from 54's Godzilla.
Yeah, certainly.
So let me read a brief plot synopsis of what Godzilla Raids Again is all about. I'm curious how they're going to describe this movie. Okay, here we go. Scout pilots for a fishing company are startled to discover a second Godzilla whose battle with rival monster Anguirus threatens to destroy Osaka. It's pretty succinct.
Yeah, I think that
actually gets into the bottom of it.
It certainly does.
Here's motion picture adventure and excitement to stagger the imagination. The fantastic fire monsters raging out of the flaming bowels of hell. Mighty Gigantus crushing whole cities in its wrath. And deadly Anguirus screaming its challenge of mortal combat. The battle of the ages. Scenes and sights and sensations beyond anything the screen has ever shown.
So, we just watched this movie together.
Uh-huh.
What did you think of Godzilla Raids Again?
So we are now entering the portion of Godzilla movies I have not seen. So all of these are first-time watches.
For the Showa era.
For the show,
For a lot of it, but...
Until about 1998.
For this season of the series, yes.
And so I thought... I liked this one.
Okay.
I think that it does some... You mentioned tone... And that is, like, the first thing I noticed.
Sure.
I was like, this is extremely happy. This is extremely comedic for a franchise where the previous movie... Obviously, this is only the second one, right? But it's like the first one is so serious. Even though there are light moments, this one is way more, like... happy. There's a lot more happiness in it.
Okay.
And so it's an interesting juxtaposition to not only is Godzilla this thing that they've all feared back, but there's another monster too. And so from that perspective, it's like a really interesting balance of the tones and all of these things. But it is enjoyable. I feel like I'm starting to see the structure in these films akin to something like a James Bond, where it's like you got your cold open, you get your, credit sequence that's going to reveal to us a lot about what the plot is about, with a song, and then you've got the girls in the car. And so, at least in these first two Godzilla movies, I have now the knowledge of, like, once these characters are extremely happy, that is when Godzilla is going to show up. Or if there's a party, Godzilla is going to come and ruin it. He's the ultimate party pooper because of that. And so it's really interesting to sort of 2 movies in feel that way. But with this movie, I also felt like it felt very familiar to me as an American, particularly towards the end. Like, when we'll save that for a little bit later, but there is something like very specific about how the ending is filmed that felt very like American filmmaking, how we do things in a way that would be really interesting to ponder.
I can't speak for Oda's filmography and his sensibilities compared to Shiro Honda, but I mean, these movies do come as an inspiration from American cinema to begin with.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not unheard of to be
and I mean
certain like plot similar or tonal similarities.
Yeah, and because I brought up Top Gun Maverick to you while we were watching this movie, because part of the plot of Godzilla is like they need these aerial crafts to do this very difficult maneuver
through a narrow area,
have to scoop up a mountain, right? And that is how they wanted to defeat Godzilla. And obviously it's like, okay, Top Gun Maverick is coming 70 years after.
I like to think Tom Cruise just sat back one day on a break and was like, "Oh, here's an idea."
I can absolutely
put on Godzilla Raids Again.
I can absolutely see him doing
Specifically
that.
Raids Again. Like Tom Cruise bought the Criterion set, and he was like, "I'm gonna finally go through these movies one by one."
Well, I'm excited to see.
And he got to the second movie, and he's like, "This is a fucking great idea."
Yeah, because it is great. It is great, but like, I think about it also in the terms of like a Captain Phil, like the way American filmmakers shoot things that involve our military is. I think this movie has the same eye towards those Japanese military members in terms of how it's shooting them. The amount of ballistics that we get in this movie is like insane. It's like that's what it's like. There's an excess in the way, Americans shoot military things in a way sometimes that I think works. Sometimes nationalism looks very, very good on screen, right? Top Gun Maverick is a perfect good example of that, where it's like, this is American military. Maybe they are really cool. Maybe this is really cool. And so here it's like you just get that. And so it just was interesting watching this with those feelings coming, based off of the story, because it is a story that's trying to balance all of these tones. And then you get to the end and I'm like, oh, like the amount of times they have to shoot that mountain for what I thought was supposed to be one large strike. So it just was really interesting in that respect.
Well, yeah, I mean, part of that comes from like, how do we show action in the 50s? And it's like, we'll just repeat the same beat over and over again because that's what we have time to do. And we also want to fill in like our 80-minute runtime plan for this. I want to go back a bit to, the idea of you saying you kind of got the pattern of what these movies are going to be akin to a James Bond or any other movie that has like a certain kind of like anthology-ness to it that can kind of slot in new things every time. You're not wrong, especially with the second movie, which is often the case with these kind of franchises where you have like a first movie that's decidedly different from like how the rest of the series plans out.
Yeah.
My example is usually Lethal Weapon, where the first Lethal Weapon's like a serious cop drama that has comedy in it. Lethal Weapon 2 is like, that's how the rest of these are. They're action comedies. They very much they've stripped down the seriousness and they're focused more on banter and fun and whatever. You're not wrong. A key reason being Godzilla 54 is Godzilla versus Tokyo. Godzilla Raids Again is Godzilla versus Anguirus, also Osaka.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the movies, for the most part, is going to be a lot of, especially in the show era, is going to be a lot of who's he fighting now? That's pretty much the rest of this entire 14 film run that we have going here. So you're gonna get a lot of guests in the rest of these movies, and this one, yes, certainly starts it up. What I do like in this one, and this is a movie, this one, it's not super liked in the realm of Godzilla films. It tends to rank pretty low, especially for the Showa era films. I like it. I hesitate to say like underrated or overrated because I don't care much.
Yeah.
It's just more, I can see, especially after watching the first one, and then you'll see as we go through these where other ones shine. I do think this one is lesser than in certain ways, but I do like how straightforward it is. I
did appreciate that.
I like that the second we get to Godzilla, who pops up pretty quickly, he's already like mid battle. Like there's not even any time to be like, there he is, and he's like, yeah, here I am. It's more like he's here and he's like busy. He's like, I don't have time for this right now. I got this other thing, this turtle stegosaurus creature coming at me right now. I don't have time for your human bullshit.
Ankylosaurus. Yeah.
So no, I do like this movie. I do think it's part of it's because it's so jarringly different than other Godzilla movies. As I said, the music is different, which is a huge part of Godzilla.
Yeah.
The use of his breath, like his dorsal fins, they don't light up in this movie. It just
they don't.
He just breathes atomic breath whenever he does.
Spitting a lot in this movie too.
A lot of spitting going on here
with the breath,
and it just has a different kind of look. And I can explain why. I think you might have noticed this when he's fighting and when he's in action. It's very fast, right? It's a lot of scurrying around. It was an accident. The idea because of the scale of these things is that you undercrank the cameras so you can when you play it back, it goes in slow motion. What happened was when they were shooting this movie, they accidentally overcranked the cameras, and so it produced a completely different look. And the director, he liked it so much, he's like, let's try that. Let's go with that let's see how that works. And so it looks decidedly different than it's going to look in the rest of the movie because it's not shot the way it was supposed to be shot.
Oh, that's really fascinating. Yeah, because it does. I can see the tone of this is just it's different than the first one.
Sure, it's not somber.
Yeah, but in some interesting ways. Like I think about the scene where they're all having a conversation. Like, honestly, it was getting to a point where I was like, "Are we going to talk about the fact that you thought you killed Godzilla and now here he is again?" And then they finally get to that in the conversation, right? They're all sitting in that boardroom. And it's like, here's the second one. So RIP to the first one. Because this is Godzilla, cousin, family friend.
Here's the other one. Yeah, I mean, it's the fun thing about Godzilla is that we actually do kill the one in the first movie. And then for the rest of the movies, it's just this other one. It's like, oh yeah, that Godzilla.
Yeah, so
it
is very interesting that and then I was like, okay, what about the Serizawa of it all? And then they finally addressed it.
Yeah, you get one scene with Takashi Shimura who comes back to reprise his role, just basically to recap the last time, complete with footage that was obviously shot on the ground in no way footage from the first movie, just to show you some very well edited highlights of what Godzilla did to Tokyo.
So that was really fascinating, but. Other than that, I don't think we get really serious about Godzilla. Like, I don't think, like, the people, obviously, you have these moments where it's like total we're going to black out the entire city, right? Like, there's this plan, and that stuff was really fascinating. But the world itself, the feeling of the movie is not serious about Godzilla in the way that the first one was.
Yeah, I mean, that was highlighted when I pointed out how they show the newspaper, and it's not like it's not the front page that says giant atomic monster on way to Root City. It's flip a few pages.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, there's a Godzilla out there. Maybe evacuate. Like, it's like so unconcerned with the idea that there's a city devastation on the way. That's how unimpressed people are at this point. A year later,
Yeah.
with the idea of a Godzilla.
It's really fascinating from that
So
perspective.
yes, it's a little less serious, correct?
Yeah, and it is a little less serious, and they've got plans. And I think some of that is born out of culture. Not to get very real world serious about it, but the measures that Japan has put in place for earthquakes versus is like you when you live in a culture like that, it's like maybe the Godzilla is still very serious, but you have been serious about how to put measures into place. And so it's like maybe the movie doesn't need to also be somber and reflecting that, you know, obviously they destroyed the Osaka castle in this. And the movie is really like, oh, we're getting close. And at this point I was like, just tear the thing down. You guys are fighting. You're knocking everything else over but that.
They really wanted to draw that out.
They wanted to draw that out. So yeah, but you know, in the culture, it's like if you take those things seriously, maybe the movie doesn't need to be as somber because it's like, okay, well, the people in the movie are, you know, rush home from the party and they have the thing, and it's like we're gonna black out the whole city, and that's just understood. But it is still interesting to be like page 15B is where we're going to tell everybody
past the style section.
Yeah, that was interesting. So yeah, the tones of it, I think the human characters in this are very buoyant characters, and we spend a lot of time with them. We just spend a lot of time with them in different ways. One of them perishes, but
well, you gotta get those stakes in there.
Yeah,
but it serves a greater good. He helps. He
does.
He finds basically the solution.
Yes. So yeah, I can see, obviously having not seen these other ones, but I can see why for people like us who are watching these things down the line, or maybe even for people in the day when you're like, okay, we got the serious drama based off of like our national, terror about atomic weapons. And then the next one is like, okay, well, we killed that one, but here's this other one, which led me to one of my grand thesis, is that the horrors that were visited upon you do linger.
Okay.
And that was like an interesting thematic that I got out of this, where it's like we might be past the main thing, but like it will still linger on in the consciousness. I don't necessarily know if that's what this movie is trying to do, but that is what I took away from it. The idea that you killed Godzilla and you thought everything was fine and you found the one thing to destroy it and we can move on with our lives. And it's like, nope, the monsters of humanity's making are still here.
I mean, there is a certain tragedy to it as far as having Shimura come back and reiterate what happened and be like,
yeah, we
had Dr. Serizawa who created the Oxygen Destroyer, but he's lost now, so we can't do that again. Mm-hmm. If the movie was, a few degrees more in that direction, it could have really played around with those ideas.
Yeah.
That's not to say they're entirely absent. I think that's an interesting theory that you have, and certainly in the mindset to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
It's just clearly that's not the film's tone.
Yeah.
As far as like explicitly stating that's what's on our mind, but it's not there. That's an easy reading to have as far as what we're going for by having another Godzilla, and now we can't even stop this one. We have to improvise our own way. This, that, the other. As far as like the tone in general goes, I mean, yeah, that's where we're gonna be. But that said, I mean, this film at the time was pretty well reviewed for what it was. There was critics that were into it based on the fact that it didn't get itself drowned in the kind of sorrowness that the first film had. Some just wanted like a giant monster movie, and like we're approving of that fact.
Yeah.
Over time, and like in retrospect, yes, Godzilla is obviously looked at as a classic, where Godzilla Raids Again is often not thought of in the fondest of lights. But I could see where certain critics would be coming from, being like, it's tough for us to have to rest in this tragedy in the midst of a giant monster movie. Let's have something that's a little bit more fun. And I can see the logic in making a film like this where it's like, all right, we got that first one out of the way. Let's do that again, but like, bigger, sequel rules, bigger and better. So there's a lot more Godzilla in this one. He has a fucking enemy to fight in this one. It's by default more fun because, yes, there's large one-on-one giant monster battles taking place and iconic locations being destroyed and whatnot. You have characters that they're largely interested in, they're as much interested in destroying Godzilla as they are in finding the right gifts for their girlfriends.
Yeah.
So it's very much loosening up. And boy, are you in for a variety of things to come in the preceding films.
Yeah, it's definitely much looser. And yeah, we do spend significant time with these human characters in ways that don't concern Godzilla.
Yes.
Which is, interesting to compare it to some of these later films.
And that's, if you want to talk about the patterns and like the Bond thing of it all, like that's really what it's going to be. It's going to amount to Godzilla, some other threat, possibly, but yes, largely boardroom meeting. What do we do? Side characters that are actually the leads that will have like, their own melodrama going on at the same time.
Yeah, it's so it is interesting from that perspective. And this movie, the Godzilla review. What I'm now going to be tracking from this point forward is how we first see Godzilla. Because in the first movie, I thought it was not. It's silly only in retrospect because I know Godzilla as like this massive franchise and this giant iconic monster. So his reveal just over that mountain, I was like, oh, this is just how we're going to reveal Godzilla. And here, it is the same. In a way, it's like
a little bit.
He's
pops in.
Nothing is happening on this island, and then suddenly Godzilla is around the corner, and you see him around this mountain. And I'm like, that is it's just as fascinating. So I'm going to be tracking now to see how he is revealed every time.
A movie like this would be funny if like you walked in blind and it wasn't even called Godzilla Raids Again. It's just called like, I don't know, like Pilots on the Island.
Yeah.
And so it's like these guys are like, oh no, I crashed. You got to go pick me up. Okay, I'm going to pick you up. And as they're going through it, they just say like, what was that? It's like, oh, it's Godzilla. He's here.
It definitely was. Yeah, it was definitely.
It's very casual. How it kind of rings about. But it escalates more and more. It becomes more and more like, I mean, because these movies are going to be eventually influenced by like Japanese wrestling, it's going to become kind of like that as far as like ring announcements where it's like, and here he is, Godzilla, and the music swells up and he comes in and it's all epic. These movies though, yes, it's very casual. It's very
definitely. I was like, okay, we're now 2 for 2 in just Godzilla being like, hey, like just peeking his head around things. So yeah, and it was interesting this time. It's not only just like Godzilla is back, but now he's immediately fighting a monster.
Yes.
Which the characters obviously comment on, but that is interesting to just be like, damn, 2? we thought we killed one, and not only is he back, but somebody else.
There's another one, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is Anguirus. Anguirus is he's like I said, he's like a big turtle stegosaurus type kind of thing going on. Anguirus is a very popular character. It's a fan favorite. People like Anguirus quite a bit. You will see him again.
I was going to say, is it because of how he died?
I mean, dying is a loose term in the world of Godzilla. Like,
because we are now.
Did he get bit a lot of the neck, tossed off a cliff, and burned alive by Godzilla? Sure.
Yes.
But
which I appreciated Godzilla for being thorough.
But does that equal death? Wiggle room.
Yes.
See, he was in the water.
The water. Okay, the
fires go out.
Water healed him. Okay,
but so with Anguirus, Godzilla has a lot of different kinds of relationships with his monsters. So Anguirus is going to become more of like a begrudging friend over time.
Okay, so, that'll be interesting to see. Because
you'll see.
They was fighting it was on site.
You gotta but then the thing is, I mean, we don't know why they were fighting. We just know they were fighting. We just introduced them fighting. Maybe he like stole the last biscuit off the table or something. He's like, hey, give that back. I don't know.
Yeah, and then what is smart in the narrative is the thing that is going to drive Godzilla. The thing that drove Godzilla away is the thing that brought this other monster back, right? They do the flares. This movie, what I also appreciated was that these characters and the world that they're inhabiting put together a plan, which is sort of why I talked about the cultural thing with the earthquakes. they're like, okay, we're not about to be caught lacking against the monster. So for a second time, here's this thing that we noticed about Godzilla. Great, do these flares, lead him away from the city, and it's all working. But then Anguirus,
Yes.
Anguirus is like, but I kind of like the look of those flares. Maybe that's something I need to go investigate. And now, the fight gets brought back to them.
I hate continually to tease what's coming, but there's so much. The things you're tapping into, the things you're connecting with, are things that the series recognizes as well, and will certainly play with those things as we go through.
I'm glad that it won't. Well, that's good, because then it won't feel jarring or weird or they forgot.
It had a peek behind the scenes. Terence and I are going to see a movie far ahead of where we are next week, because it's playing in a theater, and it's we should take advantage of that. We should see it in a theater, and that episode won't come out until way later. But you're going to get a jump ahead as far as the kind of approach that these movies take to Godzilla a decade from now, or 2 decades from now at this point, compared to where we are currently, which should be fun. But
it's interesting. And obviously, like you mentioned, some of the history behind this, that it's Godzilla came out in November of 54, and this comes out in June.
Yeah, it's a pretty quick turnaround.
I can't remember what the exact sort of time of 55. Can't remember what the exact time frame of that is, but it's interesting to think about the production of it and what it takes to actually make a movie, and being okay, these are the elements that work. These are the things we want to do. Here's how we can structure these things. Going back to the structure, that is another sort of classic American thing of American 3-act structure, and how that breaks down into 30, 60, 90, 120 page increments, and what happens in those increments and your different sequences and all of that is that's a very Western approach to movie making. And so, I could see this. I can also see, Barbara Broccoli's family watching this and be okay, when we do James Bond and we want to do all these different things, so yeah, it was interesting. It's interesting sort of starting to notice those traces. But yeah, I know now, if there is a party, Godzilla is not too far behind, ready to just ruin the night.
So this came out April 55, so
even faster.
Pretty quick turnaround. It came out in America in 1959, where the one in America for Godzilla comes out in 56, and it's retitled Gigantus the Fire Monster. There's a lot of interesting retitles, and
because
it's a heavily edited version of this movie.
Oh my goodness!
As they do. And this first one also, the original version, George Takei has a voice in it. It's his first thing that he ever did.
Nice.
It's George Takei in this. He's in this, and I believe Mothra or something like that also. He's got a couple
That's fun.
kaiju movies under his belt.
And then he wanted to boldly go where no one's gone before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to look through my other notes.
Design-wise, I should have looked this up before. I can't remember if Godzilla's still played by the same actor as far as in the suit goes, but you also have Anguirus here. The Godzilla in this one, though, does seem noticeably slimmer. That was something I took note of. And then you have Anguirus.
He definitely looks a little different. Also, the teeth on this one, I think, are...
There's a lot more, shots of the face.
Yeah.
Close-up shots of the Godzilla head to... I don't know, add more terror, I guess.
Yeah, I definitely think it's to add more terror, because we know in the future Godzilla is going to get more expressive, right? It's not just...
He'll have more personality.
Yeah,
sure.
More personality. We definitely send each other... We'd send each other gifts with him making expressions, and so I definitely think the terror...
It is the same actor. It is Haru Nakajima, who's still in the suit for this one, yes. Okay.
Yeah, he definitely is a little slimmer. You're right about... And this is why I guess there is something in this where you do forget some things about Godzilla. Maybe it's baked into the franchise, right? Because I always joke about how when I saw the 2014 one or 2015 one, I had forgotten that he had the atomic breath, and then you hear the do 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 do, right? And then here he's just burning people up, burning things up without the whole build up with the the back lighting up. But that is so iconically Godzilla that I'm like, oh, how that if we were to have watched this in a vacuum and watched the next one and he does it, I'd be like, oh yeah, I did forget that he can. It's like you do forget some of these things with Godzilla, and I don't know what that says about my brain or what that says about the story, but it that you can have these things that you do expect, but they still feel fresh is very interesting.
Yeah, it's if I think of like video game terms, like you bust out your special moves, but you only use them so often. Right, you only when you build that meter, then it's ready to go. Otherwise, you're using your basic attacks or what have you. I do like the Anguirus like design as well. Like, I think it's like a fun because it's like an on all fours type of animal.
Yeah, I like the difference in the.
So it gives a little variety in the kind of thing we're doing. And boy, is there going to be variety in the things that Godzilla's going to face off against. Back up a bit. I mentioned that we could show like the footage of the first film. That's not the first time you're going to see footage from a previous film being inserted into a new Godzilla movie for the sake of providing not just a recap, but like in place of shooting new action, we're going to just reuse footage again.
Well, would you rather this, or would you rather have characters be introduced via Windows Media Player?
I mean, for the purpose of this film, it makes sense, like, why they're using it. Otherwise, it's going to be... You'll see.
Windows Media Player, a reference to Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, and how we get revealed the rest of the Justice League.
It was a branding exercise.
I still can't believe that he did that. But back to a better movie. Yeah, I found it extremely funny also because that is the clip that I pulled for our audio clip that we posted on social media. So I was like, oh, they loved it too. Yeah. It's great. But I mean, I actually don't mind it. As a shorthand, obviously you shot it and it's like, great. Yeah, we don't have to reshoot it. It is very comical when you're like, oh, all of these different angles.
Yeah, it's just literally the footage from the previous movie.
Yeah,
it's not like archive footage of like one shot. It's like, oh no, they're just cutting up Godzilla. But I mean, well, yeah, like, again, it's plot purposeful here. Other movies, it's because budget is the main reason as to why. Even this movie, that's basically what it is. It's like we can't just like shoot new Godzilla footage. We'll just use movie footage from the first movie. But what that speaks to, I think, is like the trial and error process of like how that's going to work. Like, because we're 2 movies into a Godzilla threat, like they don't know what they're doing beyond. Well, we have this creature; it destroys cities.
Yeah,
what can we do with that?
And I will say that, like, though we have had franchises across the world at this point where we've done sequels to things, filmmakers and studios don't get good at making sequels for like another like 20 years at this point. Like we certainly have, you have your Tarzans, which is one of the longest running, like you have these things.
It's because I mean, outside of Godzilla, it becomes like Planet of the Apes becomes Planet of the Apes is 68, and that'll become like a multimedia franchise. It'll be
like 15
it's not
years.
It's not just like the movies. It's also the lunchboxes, toys.
Yeah.
It's a whole. Before Star Wars, Planet of the Apes was the biggest franchise in the world. It was super popular, and they're making one year after year and everything. That's a giant
so you've got Planet of the Apes, you get Star Wars, and then in the 80s, American movie studios.
Outside of like James Bond. Yes.
Yeah. American movie studios get good at like that. And so it is.
They certainly see the money signs that come with that. Getting good is a different example.
Well, but like there is investment. There's like personal investment in like, okay, we want to make all these gobs of money. Therefore these things need to appeal in certain ways versus like, obviously the 54 Godzilla makes a lot of money and they're like, okay, we need to make another one, but like and they're like, okay, we can pick on these specific things, but there might not necessarily be like the forward thinking plan of like, all right, this little tidbit here needs to set up movie number 4 and we need to do all of it. Like that is something that comes in a lot with your Planet of the Apes and your Star Wars, certainly. in terms of that.
Yeah, there's less of a thinking ahead. It's more of like, who can we get? And because this early studio time, also, it's like people that are on contract for studios specifically. So they can be like, yeah, we can get Shimura back in for a day or whatnot, that kind of thing. As opposed to like, sign a 3-picture deal and all this stuff and what have you.
Yeah, so it is interesting to sort of see that, particularly from another country.
For this movie,
mm-hmm.
plot-wise,
mm-hmm.
we have a whole, there's Anguirus. We got it. Godzilla's fighting that. Also, they're near Osaka. We need to prevent it from destroying Osaka like it did Japan.
Yeah.
They kind of half get away with that. They take part of Osaka, but not all of Osaka.
Yeah, the sort of the front part, yeah.
The front part, as they call it.
No, I will say, well, there are some citizens that are harmed, but, like, not in... I mean, Godzilla was tearing
they destroyed
Tokyo.
That castle.
Godzilla was tearing Tokyo up.
Yeah.
So, in this respect, at least there's a little...
He was tearing Tokyo up, and, like, because he felt like it. This movie is more like the fight just happened to draw them to Osaka. It's less about Godzilla. But you even say it, too. Once he burns Anguirus, the guy's like, it seems to have satiated Godzilla. He's going back to sea calmly now. Then it turns out, I guess, he was just chilling in his ice cave mountain area.
Yeah.
Like, needed to take a break.
He just needed to cool down.
But so the idea of this, so Anguirus is quote unquote killed off like 20 minutes before the movie ends. So we still got a lot of Godzilla to deal with at that point.
Yes.
Which turns into, like you mentioned, this Top Gun Maverick mission of them narrowly flying through a cavern to bomb the area to cause an avalanche around him.
Yep.
I like all this a lot. I like where it ends, where the idea is we've buried Godzilla in ice.
When you
don't forget that.
When you don't think too logically about how somebody with atomic breath that could just burn up anything would stay buried in ice, it's great, and I enjoyed the silliness of it. I obviously at Top Gun Maverick that sequence is great. It is a lot. Like they blowing this mountain up, and I was like, okay, how many more times do we need to hit this mountain to get enough snow moving to bury?
It's a big monster.
Bury Godzilla. But yeah, I did think it was interesting that
does seem to work though. The idea of burying in ice, and that seems to do the job. Like, if you want to jump way ahead, like King of the Monsters, they find Ghidorah in ice.
That's true.
And he's a fucking electric demon or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess that's just the natural way to solve giant monsters.
Yeah.
If it falls in ice, I mean,
maybe ice is.
And we shoot at it a lot to, I guess, fuse the ice really quickly, like super freeze it.
Yeah, it's a lot, but yeah, I did like the plot, and I did appreciate the sort of like building blocks of this plan. I appreciated. Here are the steps that we're taking. It felt very well reasoned. I liked seeing how all of these different groups would play into it. Right? It's like you've got your sea pilots and the women who are answering the call, and the father who's running this thing, and the military, and the this and and we're bringing all of these elements. They all come together really nicely at the end, in terms of everybody getting to contribute whatever their portion of the story is.
I mean, it's making up for a lack of like a deeper kind of singular narrative to go along with the monster plot by way of having
there is no real deep thematic other than the one that I envisioned in my head.
Yeah, no. So instead, it's just like we have these stray characters. Let's bring them all together.
Yeah.
Sort of understanding of Japanese military might or whatever you want to call it as a way to succeed in overpowering the large external force attacking us.
Yes,
which is fair for a country want to do the thing they want to do.
Yeah. Sometimes the military does look very cool on screen. Film does a great job of showing that as like a point of national pride. And so yeah, it definitely gave that vibe. Do you want to know what my other random thematic was?
Sure.
Can you fight hate with hate? I was thinking about this.
That should be on a shirt right there. Godzilla face looking crooked at you. Can you fight hate with hate?
Can you fight hate with hate? Because it was in the middle of the film when I was like, how are they going to defeat Godzilla and Anguirus? But Anguirus and Godzilla are just fighting each other. And so they're like, okay, well, like, let's blow them up. And it's like, but did that really help? So can you really fight hate with hate? Yeah, it was just, that was just a funny thing that came to mind when I was thinking of this movie. Cause yeah, I think the tone was inviting me being a little sillier, and I'm sure the other ones will invite that too.
Yeah, and you also just see the evolving state of how Japan regards Godzilla. Because here, first one, villain. This one, a villain to a point as far as he's causing destruction, although he's not directly attacking anybody at this point. Although he does kill the pilot, so I mean, but he's in his area.
That's true.
He's in his personal bubble at that point. Next one, we're leaning more villain again, but I don't think it's a mystery to say he's going to become more of a champion for Japan eventually.
Yeah, and then, you know, certainly in the era that we currently are in,
it's a greater good
situation other than -1.
Yeah, well, with the Japan, you'll see with Shin Godzilla also when we get there. What they're up to with him, but yes. Any favorite moments in this one?
My favorite moments. That is a good question because I wrote down a ton. I love Godzilla just ruining people's parties. Because that's so ridiculous. Why would I think their battle in Osaka is the Osaka sequence. I will say the Osaka Godzilla is on his way to like Godzilla is leaving portion of this movie. I think is really, really good.
I would agree. I appreciate a good monster throw down, and this one is pretty extended. You get a lot of footage of them just battling it out.
Yeah,
and you know, biting each other's necks, and it gets all bloody.
Yeah, they were going at it,
and then leading up to honestly the castle takedown, because I like how they do it too, where they kind of do the special effect of like drawing the lines to show
the cracks on the
cracking
castle.
up.
Yeah,
like I thought that for 55 for a movie that doesn't have the highest budget and is relying on people in suits to fight each other. It's like, oh, that's a fun way to like get across what we're going for here, to destroy, to build up the lead to the destruction of this giant castle. That's, I assume, a notable landmark that people don't want to necessarily see to get destroyed. But here it is.
Yeah, it's it definitely, and because that's a part of I think the appeal of the disaster.
Sure.
Is like these recognizable things getting destroyed, but in a way that like you can look out of your window and see that they're still standing in real life.
Yeah.
And it like, I think it adds to the sort of the nationalism of this, right? It's like, this is our very famous location.
You're providing a reason for wanting to stop this.
Definitely. So yeah, that was great. But yeah, the Osaka sequence, just how we got with the prisoners and it like all of that, everything got brought together.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the prisoner stuff.
Yes, I wrote the second those prisoners, I said, oh, they are going to do something that is going to bring Godzilla back. And I thought, I was like, they're just going to turn the light. They're going to turn some light on, and it's like they definitely lit up the area because they crashed the truck into the cannery. Blew up a thing. The fire brought Godzilla's attention right on back. So, yeah, that was probably my favorite part of the film.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I do like the initial reveal just because it's the first time we're going to ever get a second, a second participant in Godzilla battles. It's just like seeing that for the first time. I imagine is pretty cool. I can't speak to like what the ads are like if they knew that there was going to be. I mean, the poster I believe has Anguirus on it, so it's like, all right, fine. But still, the notion of pilots being like, wait, what's going on? And they turn around, it's like, oh, there's Godzilla, and then there's like, wait, there's something else there also. Like, that's fun. I like that quite a bit.
What about you?
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Okay,
with the Osaka sequence and just the reveal aspect of having a second opponent to entering the match.
Yeah.
Well, I think that brings us. We've covered our thoughts here.
What's next?
Well, so next is going to be our revisit of Godzilla, but now Godzilla King of the Monsters, which is the American edit of the first film, which is significant enough, I think, for us to do an episode on it, just because it's been so heavily edited. You're inserting an American character. You're doing enough altering of this film.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that'll provide us some interesting conversation to get into regarding what America does to these movies.
Yeah, at least definitely the start of it. Yeah.
So we don't need to do all the different re-edits, but this is I think the most notable one. To get into. So that's going to be our next episode. We'll talk about Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Great. I'm excited.
All right. Well, where can people find more of you online?
You can find my work at lenoirtour.net, LENOIRAUTEUR.net, and on Twitter at Terence B. Johnson.
I'm on all the socials at Aaron's PS4. I co-host the podcast Out Now with Aaron and Abe with my friend Abe. We talk about weekly movie releases. I am the editor-in-chief at We Live Entertainment. I write movie reviews over there. Everything I do can be found on my personal Substack page, thecodazeek.substack.com. And yeah, that's going to do it for this week. So this has been
Two Black Guys Talk Godzilla. Two Black Guys Talk Godzilla is an independent podcast. The show is produced, edited, and distributed by Aaron Neuwirth and Terence Johnson. Theme music is sampled from Pharaoh Monch. Please rate and review this show on Apple Podcasts. Feel free to email us at blackguystalkgodzilla@gmail.com and follow us on the socials at BLK Godzilla Talk on Twitter and Blue Sky and at Two Black Guys Talk Godzilla on Facebook and Instagram. And if you haven't already subscribed, feel free to do so wherever you download your podcast so you can keep listening to Two Black Guys Talk Godzilla.